The disappearance of BSAA Star Tiger on January 30th, 1948, remains one of the most puzzling mysteries in aviation history. The aircraft, an Avro Tudor IV operated by British South American Airways, BSAA, vanished while flying over the Bermuda Triangle, a region already infamous for numerous unexplained disappearances. With 31 people on board, including crew and passengers, the flight was expected to complete a routine journey, but instead left behind no trace, no wreckage, and no definitive explanation for what happened. The mystery surrounding Star Tiger has fueled countless conspiracy theories ranging from mechanical failure to extreme weather and even supernatural forces. British South American Airways was a relatively new airline at the time, formed during the post-World War II period when commercial aviation was expanding rapidly. The airline specialized in transatlantic routes between the United Kingdom and South America, providing much-needed connections in a world that was still recovering from the war. The Avro Tudor IV, a pressurized long-range aircraft, was one of the key planes in BSAA's fleet. However, despite its modern design, the Tudor series was plagued with operational issues, including concerns about fuel efficiency, navigation, and structural integrity. On January 28, 1948, Star Tiger took off from England, making a planned stopover in the Azores before continuing its journey. From there, the flight proceeded to Bermuda, where it refueled before the final leg to Kingston, Jamaica. This was a well-traveled route for BSAA, and while transatlantic flying was still challenging in the late 1940s, these journeys were becoming increasingly routine. The flight was piloted by Captain Brian W. McMillan, an experienced aviator with years of military and civilian flight experience. His co-pilot, First Officer David Colby, along with a full crew, ensured the aircraft was in good hands. Weather conditions were far from ideal on the day of departure from Bermuda. Reports indicated that a strong cold front had moved into the region, bringing with it turbulent winds and low visibility. The crew was aware of these conditions, but deemed them manageable, and the flight took off on schedule. Everything appeared normal as the plane headed out over the Atlantic, following its planned route toward Jamaica. The last recorded communication from Star Tiger occurred around 1:30 a.m. on January 30th. At that time, the aircraft was flying at a relatively low altitude of about 2,000 feet. This was unusual, as most flights would typically cruise at higher altitudes for fuel efficiency and safety. However, pilots sometimes flew lower to avoid strong headwinds, and given the adverse weather conditions that night, it is likely that Captain McMillan made the decision to maintain a lower altitude for a smoother ride. After that final transmission, Star Tiger simply vanished. No distress call was received, no reports of mechanical failure were transmitted, and no trace of the plane was ever found. The disappearance was swift and complete, leaving investigators with little to work with. A massive search operation was launched in the following days. The US military, the British Royal Air Force, and civilian ships combed the area where the plane was last reported. The search covered thousands of square miles, but despite the extensive efforts, no debris, bodies, or wreckage were recovered. This lack of physical evidence only deepened the mystery, as even in cases of mid-air explosions or controlled ditching at sea, some form of wreckage is typically found. The investigation into the disappearance of Star Tiger faced significant challenges. In the absence of wreckage or survivors, authorities could only speculate about what might have gone wrong. Several theories emerged over the years, each attempting to explain the sudden vanishing of the aircraft. One of the most straightforward explanations is mechanical failure. The Avro Tudor IV had a history of issues, including concerns about fuel, system reliability, and structural weaknesses. It is possible that an undetected mechanical issue caused the aircraft to lose control and crash into the ocean. However, without wreckage to analyze, this theory remains speculative. Weather conditions were another major factor under consideration. The Bermuda Triangle is known for unpredictable storms, rapid changes in wind direction, and strong air currents. If Star Tiger encountered unexpected turbulence or a sudden downdraft, the pilots may have struggled to maintain control, leading to a crash. However, experienced pilots like Captain Macmillan would have been trained to handle difficult weather, making this theory uncertain. Another possibility is navigational error. In the late 1940s, aviation relied heavily on radio navigation and visual landmarks. At night, over open water, pilots had to depend on their instruments and radio beacons. If the crew miscalculated their position, they could have flown off course, running out of fuel and ditching into the ocean far from the expected search area. Despite these plausible explanations, the lack of wreckage and the eerie nature of the disappearance led to the emergence of more unconventional theories. The Bermuda Triangle, already a subject of fascination due to other unexplained disappearances, became a key aspect of the mystery. Some suggested that unknown forces, possibly electromagnetic disturbances or even extraterrestrial intervention, were responsible for the vanishing of Star Tiger. These theories, while intriguing, lack scientific evidence. The disappearance of Star Tiger was followed by another eerily similar incident a year later. In January 1949, BSAA Flight Star Ariel, another Avro Tudor IV, vanished under similar circumstances while flying over the Bermuda Triangle. Like Star Tiger, no wreckage was ever found, and no distress signals were sent. The two incidents further cemented the reputation of the Bermuda Triangle as a mysterious and dangerous region. BSAA eventually ceased operations in the early 1950s, with safety concerns and financial struggles contributing to its decline. The Avro Tudor IV aircraft, already seen as problematic, was retired from commercial service. However, the mystery of Star Tiger remained unsolved, and to this day, aviation historians and enthusiasts continue to debate what might have happened. In modern times, advances in aviation technology, satellite tracking, and improved weather forecasting have significantly reduced the risk of such disappearances. However, the case of Star Tiger serves as a reminder of the challenges faced by early transatlantic flights and the dangers that pilots and passengers encountered in an era before modern navigation and communication systems. While we may never know exactly what happened to BSAA Star Tiger, its disappearance remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of aviation history. The Bermuda Triangle, whether viewed as a real hazard or simply a region of unfortunate coincidences, continues to capture the imagination of those fascinated by the unexplained. For the families of those lost on Star Tiger, the lack of closure remains a painful reminder of the risks of early commercial flight. The story of Star Tiger endures, not just as a tragic accident, but as a mystery that has yet to be fully unraveled. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this mystery, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing stories.